Tell us about this guy.
Yeah, we're excited. Obviously Jaylen, big guard, 6'6", 6'7", big body, 3-level scorer, gets downhill. He had to do everything for Cal this year. Played point, played 1, 2, 3. Didn't have a lot around him. They were very young. Played walk-ons a lot. Obviously, Mark Madsen's, I think, one of the better coaches in college basketball. So Mark did a great job with them. They really overachieved. But he's tough, competitive. He was one of the only guys that we had kind of in that 20 year that came in and worked out actually. So and he had a great workout for us. He was everywhere. He can rebound, he can pass, he can shoot. He just fills so many gaps. Does a little bit of everything. Can play 1 through 3. Gets in passing lanes. Is tough. He just kind of checks a lot of boxes, and we're excited. And hopefully, he was going to be there at 20.
When a guy plays at 3 schools in 3 years, in this day and age, is that even a red flag anymore? Or is that
yeah. Not really. Obviously with Jason, there were different circumstances why, he had 3 schools essentially, but, it's just really, he gets to Cal, and Madsen was a perfect fit for him. Mark obviously played in the NBA, coached in the NBA for the Lakers, and, Mark just gave him a ton of confidence and let him go. And, you saw flashes of it when he was even at Texas Tech, this guy can be a pro, but it just didn't work out there, and then he goes to Cal and, kind of gets the keys to the engine and just took off.
Mike, coming into tonight, just how were you approaching this with this 20th pick? What were you trying to find?
I think we're just trying to get the best player available. Whether it was upside guy, older guy. We look at our roster, and especially for this pick 20, I don't think there's really expectations for him to play. Obviously if he comes in, competes, and can play, that'd be great. But I think just with our roster, I think we have good depth where we can bring him along slowly. But with Tyson, we're just he just checks so many boxes, and you can kind of play him with any of our guys, any other 4 guys out there on the floor with him. So adding obviously versatility and wing size, helped because he's 6'6", 6'7", and just trying to get the best player available, and we just felt he was the guy there at 20.
Woj said that Kenny was there in the draft room with you guys. Number one, what attracted you to Kenny during the coaching search?
Yeah.
How much was that in your mind of his system, what he may want moving forward?
Yeah. Kenny just got here late last night, so me and Kobe and our staff obviously chopped it up with him a little bit today, but Monday you guys can ask big Kenny Atkinson questions, but I think like I told Kenny, whoever we're taking at 20 is going to get better because that's what Kenny does, and we're excited. And I know some of our players already been reaching out to me to get a hold of Jaylen, so we're excited, and Kenny's excited, and we're just ready to get going with him.
And you mentioned that while at Cal, he was in a very high usage role, had to do basically everything for them, and I think it's fair to say with what this roster looks like here, that's not going to be his role, certainly not right away. How do you judge what that transition should be like as you go through this process, going from someone that is in such a high usage role to more of a role player type thing?
Yeah. I think the biggest adjustment for him will be playing without the ball, because obviously at Cal, he had the ball 95% of the time. He basically played point guard, where at Texas Tech, he played more off the ball. So watching more of that film, he can shoot. I wouldn't call him a great shooter, but he's a good shooter. And I think he's going to improve with that, playing off the ball on the catch. But, with him, he can get downhill, he can make a play pick and roll, second side, even off the ball, he catches it, drives closeouts, can make the right play. I just think he fits with all our guys and can do so many things but like I said, off the ball will be a challenge for him. And then even defensively, he's got good size, he's got good strength, good feet. If you watch some of his defensive clips, they're probably not going to be great just because he had to do so much offensively, and he played, in the whole game. Like a lot of these college guys do. They kind of take a back end on that end of the floor. But we're excited, and I think he's smart enough. He's got a high enough IQ that he'll figure out how to play with our other guys off the ball.
How do you guys view him defensively, positionally?
I think probably 2-3. He'll guard the 2 and 3. Obviously, he's strong enough. Maybe in a pinch you could put him on smaller 4s, but that's an area he's got to improve at. Like I said, that and playing off the ball offensively, but he's strong, he's smart, he gets steals. One of the things that we don't really do well is rebound, especially offensive rebound, and he does that well. I think he got like 1.6 a game. So if he gets us 2 extra opportunities a game, that'll be helpful. But I think he'll figure it out. And even talking to Mark Madsen through the process, he's been in the NBA, so he's like just knowing the schemes, adjustments, rotations. The NBA will be an adjustment like any rookie.
Jeff, I was going to ask about the defense. So how do you, in the scouting reports I've read, that is his shortcoming. So how do you project how that will improve?
I think it's just, obviously teaching, like these rookies come in and they have no idea how to play, defensively. And I think obviously the level of athletes and players is obviously at a high level, but, he's smart. He figures it out. He's strong. So I think he'll figure it out. Like obviously as any rookie, it's going to be a struggle, but I think having good vets and, having our 2 bigs in the back can obviously help erase some of that. But I think, he's not a liability on that end. I think he'll be average to above average. I wouldn't call him like a defensive stopper, but he gets in passing lanes, he gets steals, he gets you extra opportunities, and he rebounds. Like he's going to put his neck in there and go get 50-50 balls. So we're excited, and I think just a level of engagement and effort on that end will be much better than at Cal because he had to do so much for that team on the other end.
Jason?
I know you said you take the best available, but last time you guys had a first-round pick, it was a mid-round pick like this, and you look more proven guy as well.
Yeah.
Is there a pattern there with contending team and trying to get another quantity over chasing upside when you're picking where you are?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we don't really have control of our first for a long time, obviously, and Tyson's just kind of a guy that fits a lot of different roles. Can play with a lot of different guys, and I think I think he's probably more ready than maybe some of the other guys that were there at 20. So I think that was definitely in our mindset, just because how it is 82 games, we have a bunch of injuries. He can come in and play 1, 2, and 3. Probably more 2, 3, but he can handle in a pinch. So I think it was just he fills a lot of gaps. He's big. We need more wing size, more shooting, more playmaking, guys that can go get a shot. Because our offense sometimes was stagnant at times, but he just fit a lot of different checked a lot of boxes that we just wanted to have.
That actually was going to be my follow-up. The fact that you don't control your draft for the next 5 years, how does that impact? It seems like it makes this a fairly important pick. And how does that impact how you guys view the board and
Yeah. Well, we had a lot of options to move back or even out, because a lot of teams, like Tyson, I think, and some other names. So, but we just thought, hey, man, we don't have a pick for a while. If he's our guy and we really like him, let's take him. Like we feel like he can contribute. Maybe I don't know first year, but he contributed at some point with us, and we just need a big wing that can go make plays, and he was the best guy on the board for us, and we just said, hey, we don't want to regret trading the pick and getting a bunch of other picks down the road where we can get this guy at 20 and he's our guy.
Sam? Does it factor in at all, I know it's not the deciding factor, but does it factor in at all that he played for a former NBA player and just that guy like Mark who was mad dog?
A little bit, obviously, I had a bunch of conversations with Mark, and he obviously has been in the NBA coach, so, talking to him and asking him questions, he knows, so he knows if he can translate or not, and some of the stuff he can or can't do, strengths and weaknesses. So that definitely helped, because I think Mark's one of the more underrated and better coaches in college. Obviously what he did at Utah Valley and then at Cal. It's funny, I actually played against him when I was in the G League, and he was coaching there. So we've known each other a long time. But, he knows the NBA game. So I think with Jaylen, obviously had a great year, but I think that might help him more than maybe some other rookies, just because he had a guy that coached in the NBA and played in the NBA. So that's a little bit of advantage, I think, for him, coming in and being a rookie.
Hey, you mentioned the workout early on. Just how useful of a tool is it in the process? And with his specific workout, did you have like a memorable interaction?
Yeah.
Or anything
Yeah, actually, he came in. That was probably our best group of guys, of all our 6, 7 workouts I think we had. And at first, I don't think he was going to actually go because he had a really bad back. Like he pulled like a spasm in his back like a couple workouts ago, and this was going to be his last workout. And he said the last 2 or 3, he was like, I mean, he couldn't move. And then when the workout started, I mean, he couldn't move. Like Steve Spiro, our trainer's like, are you sure you want to go? And he's like, no, I want to go. So like, obviously his mental toughness and fight to play through things obviously showed, but I mean, he just did everything in that workout. I mean, he was getting every rebound, he was making every play, he was making shots, like he was defending, and it was like a high-level workout of guys, you know, a couple guys that got drafted tonight. So it just really stood out. I mean, it was by far the best workout of any guy we had in here. And, you know, the workouts are a little piece to the puzzle. We're not, hey, we're drafting him because he had a great workout. Obviously, we've seen him, you know, for 3 years, but that did help. We're like, hey, this guy probably shouldn't have worked out, and he fought through it and obviously played at a high level. So that makes you feel good. Like, man, this guy's going to play through some pain, and he's going to compete at a high level. And, you know, that really stood out.
When best player available in your eyes kind of coincides with bigger win, the way that you said, knowing the direction that the league's going, how beneficial is that
Yeah.
worked out like that?
Yeah, I mean, the hardest thing to do is get big wings that, you know, can kind of do a little bit of everything and play both ways. And I think with Jaylen, he's unique where he was our best player, but also like our best fit on the board, you know? So having that, you know, was pretty much a no-brainer. And, you know, his size, he can just do so many things that, you know, we're excited just to get him in and get him with our group, get him with Kenny, and just really hit the ground running.
Bill.
As far as your evaluation, I know you said you went and got the best player, but your front court depth, as far as your 2 big men, it's kind of empty back there.
Yeah.
What went through as far as your evaluation process, or this is the guy we are going to get, even though we do have some people at that position, whereas in this position, it's kind of bare.
No, definitely. I mean, you know, obviously Evan and Jared are going to play the 5 a lot, but, you know, that's definitely something, you know, we got to get better at. And, you know, there were some bigs there still left, but we just felt Jaylen was the guy. And, you know, obviously in free agency and stuff, we can address, you know, the backup big. But, you know, I think with, you know, especially with Evan and Jared, obviously 82 games, you're going to have injuries. But, you know, whoever we drafted, you know, like I said earlier, like the expectations are going to be low on them, but we want them to develop them the right way. And obviously if they can play, they can play. But, you know, we looked at the bigs, obviously, because we know that's an area we need to improve. But Jaylen was just the guy that we liked more.
When it comes to Jaylen's development, do you anticipate him getting the opportunity to earn minutes under Kenny, or do you think he would be better off just playing with the Charge in the rookie season?
Yeah. I think, you know, obviously the first step is get him here, get him for Summer League. Obviously he'll play a lot there. And then, you know, when training camp comes, I think just, you know, talking to Kenny, he's like, hey, whoever can compete, you know, everyone's going to compete for minutes. And, you know, obviously, like I said, like the bar is low, so to speak, just because we don't want to put too many expectations and pressure on the kid. But if he comes in and plays, like, I think Kenny will play him. You know what I mean? So I just think, like, we have 10, 11 guys that can play, you know, including Craig that we have on our roster. And it's going to be hard for him to get minutes, but if he plays well and earns it, like, you know, I don't think Kenny's going to get in his way.
And technically he's your only rookie, but is there any chance that maybe Luke or Khalifa over this year can join you in
Yeah.
the group?
Khalifa and Luke they'll be at Summer League with us. Khalifa's still injured, so to be determined if he's going to play. But Luke's going to be with us. You know, obviously he had a great year in Melbourne, and, you know, we're still evaluating him where, you know, we could potentially bring him over this year, you know, after or before Summer League.
Last 2, Jason and Chris.
I'm just 30,000-foot view. You saw the Knicks move yesterday, and with the first apron, the second apron, is it getting harder to make trades? And it feels like this is the start of a new era
Yeah.
in the NBA. Have you guys sensed that at all in terms of just trying to get things?
Yeah. It's hard because with these aprons, there's so many restrictions on what teams can do. You know, it's just, I mean, you know, you get locked into stuff where you can't trade your picks. You know, you don't have picks. You can't take back more money, you know. So I think it makes it difficult because, you know, especially for us, like, we have a really good team. You know, I hope we're going to keep trending in the right direction. And, we might get expensive here soon. So at times, you know, like look at all these other teams. They have to make decisions that they probably don't want to do, but it's just the way it is, just the way the money is in these aprons. So, you know, obviously we have great ownership, and, you know, Dan takes care of us, and, you know, and is going to help us with whatever we feel is going to be best for the team. But I think the apron stuff and all the way the new rules are set, it's just tough for teams. I mean, you look at some of these teams up top, like they're just so limited in, you know, what they can do. Like, you know, they can't get buyout players. They can't, you know, their second round. They only have second round picks essentially. You know, picks get frozen maybe down the line. So there's just a lot of that's tough for teams, and, you know, we're still kind of learning that and navigating that. But I think it's just a work in progress for everybody.
Last one, Chris.
Like, going off of that, with the Knicks making moves, with the Celtics winning the championship, is there a level of pressure to feel like, hey, we've got to do something to match what those other teams are doing so that they don't create more distance, or anything along those lines?
Yeah, I mean, we want to get better. I mean, we're looking at every avenue to get better. You know, obviously draft, trade, free agency. You know, we're not going to leave any stone unturned, but and we can't control what, you know, these other teams do. Obviously, you know, I mean, we're not in their war room. We don't know what they want to do, but, you know, we want to compete. You know, obviously, wish we're a little more healthy towards the end of the playoffs, but we think we have a great group, a group that can compete with those teams, and, you know, we're going to try and get better. I know that. Me, Kobe, our Weems, our front office. I mean, just for this draft, and the coaches, they put in so much work to get here. And I know we have another day of the draft, but you know, we're constantly in there working, thinking of strategies, thinking of, you know, trying to be creative and just ways to get us better somehow, some way.
You mentioned the next day of the draft, round 2 being tomorrow. Do you see a pathway to getting a second round pick? You guys don't have one right now?
Oh yeah, I mean, we're going to be aggressive, man. I mean, you know, leading up to this whole thing, you know, we know what teams could potentially move picks. So, you know, we're always trying to get better, and, you know, we'll obviously look at the board now that, you know, obviously it's been adjusted now. You know, that's what's nice, is you can kind of take a deep breath and now kind of reshuffle your board in some way and kind of see where the teams are and the players are at, and see if we can go grab someone.